She calls herself the queen of rap. But what if the throne was built on decades of beef, betrayal, and bitter rivalries? From legends she once admired to lovers she turned against.
You.
Okay.
If he play you, then number two.
Okay.
Is his best friends and make them yes men.
Okay.
Nicki Minaj's darkest feuds didn't just shape her career, they exposed the price of staying on top. And some of these names, you won't believe who made the list. Here are the top 7 artists Nicki Minaj hated the most. Let us begin with number 1, Travis Scott. This feud wasn't about bars or bad blood, it was about Billboard. And for Nicki Minaj, the moment felt like a slap in the face. In 2018, her highly anticipated album Queen dropped with major fanfare. After years of silence, this was supposed to be her victory lap, the return of hip-hop royalty. But then came Astroworld. Travis Scott's album held on to the number 1 spot, edging Nicki out, and she wasn't having it. From her point of view, the win wasn't organic. Travis had bundled his album with tour tickets and exclusive merch, hoodies, keychains, fan passes, and all of that counted toward his total sales. To Nicki, it felt like cheating. And when Kylie Jenner, one of the most followed women in the world at the time, used her platform to push those bundles, it only added salt to the wound. Nicki took to Queen Radio and let loose. She didn't hold back, calling out the system and accusing Travis of gaming the numbers by pushing clothes instead of music.
But what we not gonna do is have this auto-tune man coming up here selling sweaters and telling y'all he sold 500,000 albums, because he didn't.
And it didn't stop there. When she appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show, Nicki kept the same energy. She said the whole thing frustrated her so much, she felt like punching Travis, though she tried to laugh it off as a joke. Still, the sting was real.
Angry. When someone says how they feel, they're not always upset or angry.
Well, what were you feeling?
I felt like I wanted to punch him in his face.
Okay.
Behind the scenes, Nicki's team also pointed to a 12-hour delay in Queen's rollout across streaming platforms. That delay likely cost her first-day momentum and possibly the top chart spot. But this was never just about a number. To Nicki, it exposed something deeper. A system where marketing gimmicks overshadowed actual music. A chart race where hype beat out hard work. And in an industry already stacked against female rappers, especially black women, it felt like yet another battle she had to fight alone. This wasn't personal beef, it was a clash with the industry itself. And for Nicki Minaj, that made it even harder to ignore. At number 2, we have Lil' Kim. This feud didn't just spark drama, it triggered a full-blown debate on who owns the throne. For Kim, Nicki wasn't a newcomer, she was a remix of everything Kim had already built. Imagine building a career only to watch someone else blow up using your blueprint. That's exactly how Lil' Kim saw Nicki Minaj's rise. Back in the early 2010s, things were already tense behind the scenes. Lil' Kim was collaborating with Cash Money, recording new tracks with Slim and Birdman. But then everything shifted. In an emotional interview with The Breakfast Club, Kim claimed she was iced out after submitting her vocals for a track, only to see the label pull the record, and suddenly, Nicki appeared with a sound eerily similar to Kim's.
The way I did my vocals, hers were different from how I did my vocals at that time. So shortly after that, she started releasing all these records, doing her vocals the way I did my vocals.
She also said they studied her swag because she was around the whole crew at the time.
But after that, it almost seems like when they realized, okay, we need Kim, we want to study her swag. That's what it kind of felt like, because I was around for a long time.
She described how Nicki didn't just borrow her style, she ran with it. Colorful wigs, bravado, the iconic poses. It all felt like a remixed version of Lil' Kim, but without the credit. What made things worse was a personal encounter. Kim said Nicki rolled her eyes at her during Justin Combs' birthday party, ignoring her completely.
Nothing. And she looked at me and rolled her eyes, and I was like, really?
And then came the music. Track after track from Nicki seemed to throw shade, and Kim was convinced it was all directed at her. That led to Kim's infamous Black Friday mixtape, a full-on lyrical attack aimed at tearing Nicki down. For Kim, it wasn't just about imitation, it was about erasure. And just when fans thought things might cool off, the feud became cemented in hip-hop history. At number 3, it's Remy Ma. This wasn't just a rap battle, it was a full-on lyrical ambush that tested Nicki Minaj's crown for the very first time. The tension between her and Remy Ma had simmered quietly for years. Both women represented New York. Both claimed dominance, but only one could wear the crown. As Nicki's fame skyrocketed, she dropped subliminals, subtle digs like her infamous line, "To be the queen of rap, you gotta sell records, you gotta get plaques." Fans widely believed that the bar was aimed directly at Remy, and it lit the fuse. In 2017, Remy turned up the heat. Her track, Shether, built on Nas's infamous Ether beat, wasn't just a diss, it was demolition. She took shots at Nicki's credibility, accused her of ghostwriters, cosmetic work, and manipulating the industry. The cover art? A mutilated Barbie doll, clearly symbolic. Nicki's delayed response with "no frauds" felt underwhelming to fans. Meanwhile, Remy walked away with the 2017 BET Award for Best Female Hip-Hop Artist, breaking Nicki's long-running streak. For a brief, undeniable moment, it looked like Remy Ma had snatched the crown.
And the winner is Remy Ma!
The drama got more interesting when Remy Ma gave her acceptance speech. It felt like a subtle jab at Nicki, and the energy was undeniable.
I just want to say, y'all bitches got fat while we starved. Shots in your ass, pads in your bras. Y'all some liars. It ain't no fat in your song. And yeah, that crown is coming to the Bronx. Queen lies.
For a brief, undeniable moment, it looked like Remy Ma had snatched the crown. But beyond the tracks and trophies, this feud marked something deeper. It was a moment where hip-hop saw two powerful women fight for respect in a male-dominated space, each carrying years of pressure, competition, and expectation. For better or worse, their beef forced the industry and the fans to reconsider what it really means to be queen. Coming in at number 4, it's Miley Cyrus. This one wasn't your typical rap beef. It was a cultural collision, broadcast live on stage and echoed through every entertainment headline. Back in 2015, Nicki Minaj took to Twitter with a pointed observation. How could Anaconda, a record-breaking, culturally impactful video, not earn a nomination for Video of the Year at the VMAs? She didn't name names, but she hinted at a larger issue, how Black women's bodies and art are often sidelined unless packaged through a white mainstream lens. Taylor Swift initially took offense, thinking the tweet was aimed at her, but that was quickly smoothed over. The real problem came when Miley Cyrus, in a New York Times interview, dismissed Nicki's comments as impolite and turned her criticism into a personality issue instead of engaging with the point. So when Nicki took the stage at the VMAs, she addressed it head-on, turning directly to Miley with that now infamous line. It wasn't scripted, it was a moment of raw energy, and the internet exploded.
And now, back this that had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's
This wasn't about competition. It was about visibility, power, and respect. Nicki didn't just clap back. She drew a line in the sand between performative allyship and real advocacy in pop culture. Now, here's where we shift from pop feuds to something more serious. Number 5, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey and Nicki Minaj turned American Idol into a battleground with real fears and real consequences. When Nicki Minaj joined American Idol in 2012, fans expected drama, but not this kind. From day one, Nicki and Mariah clashed. It started with snide comments over outfits, but quickly escalated. TMZ released footage of a heated argument where Nicki reportedly yelled, "I told them I'm not f***ing putting up with Her Highness over there." But things took a darker turn. Barbara Walters later claimed Mariah told her Nicki said, "If I had a gun, I'd shoot that bitch." Nicki denied it, calling the story a fabrication, but Mariah wasn't taking chances. She hired extra security and later told ABC News she felt unsafe on set. Anytime anybody's reeling threats at somebody, it's not appropriate. What was supposed to be a career move for both women turned into a hostile work environment. Idol producers hoped the drama would boost ratings, but instead it turned into a cautionary tale. Next, at number 6, we have Cardi B. What started as a bubbling rivalry quickly turned into one of the most explosive moments in modern hip-hop history, complete with flying shoes, tense lyrics, and husbands thrown into the crossfire. When Cardi B's Bodak Yellow exploded in 2017, it didn't just launch a new star, it shifted the landscape. For the first time in years, Nicki Minaj wasn't the only woman dominating the charts. Cardi had landed a #1 hit before Nicki ever did solo, and for many Barbs, that felt like a threat. The media fed into it, constantly comparing the two, framing them as competitors in a game with only one crown. At first, it looked like unity might win out. Both artists appeared on Migos' Motorsport, but the piece was short-lived. The music video was filmed separately. Cardi later revealed in an interview that her issue with Nicki started when she discovered Nicki had changed her verse on Motorsport after learning Cardi would be featured on the track.
You know, when I heard the track,
right,
her verse was in Finnish. Well, it's not the verse that is on right now.
But Nicki didn't take that lightly. She later explained that this was where her problem with Cardi began. She saw the interview as Cardi aligning herself with the growing Nicki hate train.
She changed her version of it. Excuse me? It's because of the Nicki hate parade that she felt the comfortability to address me in that matter.
Things finally boiled over at New York Fashion Week in 2018. At the Harper's Bazaar Icons party, Cardi reportedly threw her shoe at Nicki during a confrontation, walking away with a visible knot on her forehead and claiming Nicki had insulted her parenting. Since then, the feud has cooled publicly, but simmers beneath the surface. Fan bases still trade shots, subliminal lines sneak into verses, and in 2023, Nicki's husband, Kenneth Petty, was caught wandering the streets of NYC looking for Offset, Cardi's husband. That stunt landed him under house arrest. This feud may no longer dominate headlines, but one misstep could bring it all crashing back, and everyone's watching. And finally, number 7 brings us to Meek Mill. Once the king to her queen, Meek Mill and Nicki Minaj weren't just a couple, they were a hip-hop power duo. But when their relationship ended in 2017, it didn't unravel quietly. It fell apart in public, and the echoes still linger across their music and headlines. At first, the breakup seemed like a standard celebrity split, shady tweets, cryptic captions, and a few lyrical jabs. But by 2020, things reached a boiling point. The drama exploded inside a West Hollywood store, where Meek got into a heated shouting match. Not with Nicki, but with her husband, Kenneth Petty. Nicki was present, and cameras caught the entire tense moment as voices were raised and emotions flared. Shortly after, the feud spilled online. Nicki accused Meek of being abusive during their time together, while Meek fired back, claiming she was protecting her brother, who had been convicted of serious crimes. It wasn't just personal, it got deeply toxic, with family members and fans dragged into the firestorm. Nicki had already thrown playful shade in her track Barbie Dreams, but this was something different. The tension ran deep, and to this day, fans still scan lyrics and posts for new shots. Because with Nicki, closure rarely comes without controversy. So there you have it, 7 rivalries, 7 explosive chapters in the story of one of rap's most controversial icons. From disses to drama, from showdowns to shade, Nicki Minaj has never backed down. But were these feuds just part of the game, or a glimpse into how fame isolates even the fiercest artists? Drop your thoughts below, and let us know who was really in the wrong and who's next in line for the Queen's wrath. Because if we've learned anything about Nicki Minaj, it's that peace is temporary, but beef, that lives forever.